What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Wave, and we're jumping right into the Game 2 coverage. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe, drop a like, drop a comment. I definitely want to read everybody's take on how they see these conference semifinals going. But let's go ahead and get started with the first game, and that would be the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Indiana Pacers. We saw Indiana come into Cleveland and steal two games on the road, which was just one. I don't know. I'll speak for everyone. I know maybe there's some Indiana fans out there that that thought that they were gonna do that. I am not one of those. I thought Indiana was thought it would have been a little bit of a back and forth series. Cleveland came out with a response to dropping two at home. Donovan Mitchell 43. He's just been on a tear. I think he has like 30 plus in like five straight games, or I could be wrong. It could be more games actually. Donovan Mitchell, just a masterclass out there. Jared Allen, 19. He's always great to have out there. 19, 12 rebounds, 18, 13 rebounds for Mobley. Darius Garland, he made his return. He hadn't played in 4 games, and he looked okay. He didn't look too bad out there. A little bit of rusty shooting, but still dropping dimes, and just having his first game back after missing over a week or 2 weeks of basketball. Max Strus with 20. So everybody off the bench came with double figures. DeAndre Hunter off the bench with some points, but not really much coming off the bench. Again, the Cavs didn't really shoot too well from the three-point line. In fact, they shot sub 30%, but their offensive. The Cleveland Cavaliers had 18 offensive rebounds, while the Pacers only had 4. That was definitely one key factor to pay attention to in this series, especially with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen combining for 9, Donovan Mitchell with 5 himself. So this Cleveland team definitely came to play a lot more physicality on the field, and it was just a good starter. Like the starters definitely came to play that night. Again, Donovan Mitchell leading the way with 43. I still have Cleveland winning in 7. I think they could come back and take another game at home. But like I've been saying, I think Indiana is a little underrated of a team, and I definitely think that they could. If the Cards, they're in the same driver's seat as the Knicks. Like if they can win a game at home and put the series in a statistical jail for their opponents. Like, yeah, but in teams could come back 3-1, but like statistically speaking, they don't. And if Indiana is able to just win one game on the road, then they should be able to close things out. But again, Cleveland is a formidable foe. They went 64-18, so I don't see them just dropping 2 games on the road or at home and then just not performing their best basketball. That is to say, Indiana is a good team, and this can go either way. But I have Cleveland still coming out of this series, whether that be in 6 or 7 games. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the next slate. The next game that night was the Oklahoma City Thunder and Denver Nuggets, and this game was a little bit confusing as well because going into the half, I think Denver was up by, if I'm not mistaken, 5. And it was a close match throughout the whole game. You had Chet with 18. Jalen Williams came to play with 32. Hartenstein with 10 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Shea Gilgeous shot really inefficiently that night. 7 for 22. 18 points, 10 rebounds. 13 rebounds. I'm sorry, 7 assists. Just inefficient shooting out there. Lou Dort with only 1 shot off the field, and then the bench, unlike last game where we said there were 8 players in double figures, there were only 4 players in double figures this time, and we could see the drastic difference. 9 for 35, 25% from the three-point line. They took 104 shots, so they knocked down 40 of them, so they were getting good looks. Only 11 turnovers compared to 14 for Denver, so that wasn't where the edge came from. And we can go ahead and see the edge really just came from Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. And yeah, they definitely played well. Aaron Gordon with 22 and 8 with 5 assists. Only 1 turnover is great. Michael Porter with 21. He hit 5 threes. He definitely has a bounce back game because he had been playing a little under par, and he apparently was dealing with some kind of shoulder injury. But it's good to see that he had a bounce back game. Jokic with 20 and 16, 8 for 25, not bad at all. No threes though, so it was just like he hit 10 of them. So that's where a good chunk of his misses came from. 20 and 16, 6 assists, 8 turnovers. He didn't have the best game, but he got the job done. Jamal Murray, he played great. 9 for 19, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals, a block. That was a good match out there. And Westbrook with 8 off the bench, still doing what he had to do. He didn't play his best game of the series, but he's, still contributing basketball, 22 minutes off the bench. And their rotation even shrank even more. They're sticking to these 8 guys right now. So, and then you have one guy off the bench who only played 3 minutes in some garbage time. It's one thing to note is that when they got to overtime, the Oklahoma City Thunder only scored 1 field goal or 1 point, or I'm not even sure if it was a basket, but they only scored 2 points. So, Denver definitely came to perform. Like I've been saying about this series, I definitely believe that it's going to go to 7. I think these are 2 good teams. If Denver could keep Oklahoma City in tight matches and close races, close games, and not let them use their defense to break open 20, 25-point leads in the game, Denver can use their experience and just better coaching, not even better coaching, but their experience and just using the late game situations and putting teams in in positions to make decisions. Denver can definitely win. Oklahoma City has the talent and the depth, so I'm still going to take them in 7. But Denver, they're going to push these guys, and I don't see this going any less than 6 or 7 games. This is going to be a down to the wire match, and this is also. I just want to make a note here. If Oklahoma City does go on to win, I hope that the rest of the league is looking and taking notes on how to beat Oklahoma City with a roster that has some talent but is not as deep. Now, if you had a deeper roster, this wouldn't even be a question, but it's trying to show that you can have a superstar, 2 superstars, maybe a good third option, and some role players, and you can beat these guys. But there's just a few things that you can't let happen. So, definitely a great series. Another overtime thriller. And another game that comes close down to the wire, but I still have Oklahoma City taking this in 7, and yeah, let's see how they decide to respond. Let's see if they can tie the series up, or if Denver could put them in the statistical jail and put them in a 3-1 deficit and force them to do some historical comebacks. So let's go ahead and see. This is definitely going to be exciting. All right, the next game was the Boston Celtics New York Knicks. Another shocking game, shocking series that's definitely turned everybody's head upside down. In this game, the main key was that the Boston Celtics did not shoot like shit. They did not shoot poorly from the field. That was the main key for all this stuff. Jason Tatum went 8 for 20 from the field, 22 points. Definitely scoring out there at 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. He was doing everything out there. Al Horford. He had 3 threes, 15 points. He played well. Drew Holiday, 8 points, 4 assists. He did his thing as well. Derek White, always 17, 50% from the 3-point line. Jaylen Brown, 7 for 18, 19 points. So everybody but Holiday scored double digits, but that's still fine. And yeah, Peyton Pritchard with 5 threes off the bench for 20 points. And Kristaps with 5 off the bench. It was the key stat here was that they shot 50% from 3. A team shoots 50% or more from 3, it's going to be tough to really beat them. Plus, we have to also take into consideration that Boston's back was against the wall. So, everybody, all the Knicks fans that I know, I think they were anticipating a loss. I think the key here is that New York needs to take one game at the Garden. They obviously dropped the first one, so their mindset is that they have to win the next game, which is on Monday. And yeah, they should probably be thinking about winning the next game. And if they do the same thing that that Denver could do and put them in behind the 3-1 deficit. They're statistically proven to be done. So New York just needs one more win. I have Boston. I had Boston in 7. I'm going New York in 7. I'm just gonna change my pick officially after Game 3, even after a Knicks loss, and I'm doubling down that the Knicks are gonna go to the conference final just because this Celtics team is definitely beatable. Shooting 50% from 3 is amazing, but I don't know how sustainable that is. The only team I ever saw really do that was the San Antonio Spurs back in like 2014, and that team had like some great team basketball. Boston has some good talent, so it's possible, but we'll see. I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, doing the thing, 48 points combined. Um, Not too efficient from the 3-point line. That's been the Knicks' story the whole series. They've been like subpar from 3, but they've been cashing in when they needed to. Um, yeah, and it was just a tough match. You have Josh Hart with 10, 6 rebounds, Mikal Bridges with 12, but other than that, there really wasn't much to speak of on this team. They shot 40% from the field, 20% from 3, and they only shot 68% from the free throw line. That was a lot of it attributed to the Hacker Robinson that Boston was performing. And yeah, I think let's see how Game 4 is. This game was definitely lopsided, but it was I don't think the New York Knicks have anything to worry about, and let's see how they come out for Game 4. They came out kind of flat. I don't see them coming out flat back-to-back games, and Boston came out hot. So they went from shooting 25% from the 3 to 50. And if you saw the margins, if they shot the three-point ball well, they'll win. But, it's definitely like when they start settling for that three-point shot, that's when things start looking kind of crazy. So let's see if this comes back to bite them. Again, I'm gonna switch my pick. My pick was originally Boston in 7. I'm going New York in 7, just because I feel like they have the momentum, and they have the grit and they have all the factors to help them push them forward. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next game. But this game was definitely a blowout. But New York should definitely bounce back, and we'll see how they respond to 50% shooting from the 3-point line. And the final game on the slate was the Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors. This game was really about Julius Randle, performing really well. He had a triple-double, 24, 10, and 12, 3 steals. He came out to play. You had Jaden McDaniels with 15 as well. Anthony Edwards still, doing what he got to do out there. 5 threes, 36 points. Just balling out there. Just normal stuff. Naz Reid, 9. DiVincenzo, not the best game out there for him, and same for Rudy Gobert. And we have to have this quick conversation about Rudy Gobert, and not that it's just kind of strange how he's playing against the Warriors and he has been held offensively in check. But when he was playing against the Lakers, you saw like he was just having his field day. He was looking like an offensive juggernaut out there. So it's just curious, something to pay attention to. He still had 13 points and he still had 9 points and 13 rebounds. So he's a good player, but it's really just how can Golden State run small lineups and still keep him offensively in check, but the Lakers couldn't? That's a combo for another day. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Warriors. Draymond, the keynote there was that he fouled out of the game. He was playing some good defense, but he did foul out in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler, he had to be the main scoring option that night. He had 33. That was expected for him to be shooting the ball at such a high volume. 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He definitely did his thing out there. Buddy Hield, he a little on the subpar side. 14 points, 5 for 11, but he hit some big shots, 5 assists. So he definitely had a big game and contributed to some good plays as well. But Podemski, I'm sorry, Brandon Podemski, he had a pretty subpar game, 1 for 10. He was one of those players that just couldn't knock anything down. Jonathan Kuminga with 30 off the bench. He was finding his groove, especially playing with Jimmy Butler. That was something that was causing some issues. He hadn't been able to play with Jimmy Butler on this floor together, so that was something to pay attention to. And something that I noticed too is they swapped Quinton Post. He hasn't been getting a lot of minutes this series, just because I think that he doesn't have the skill set offensively to like impact because these guys are so big, and he plays kind of with his back to the basket and facing up to hit some threes, and it's just they have the counter for him, so he's not really playing. Again, another game without Steph. That should have been the first thing that we mentioned. And Golden State was winning this game, especially in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes to go, and it was just a collapse at the end. And Minnesota came through with their last minute run to push them up. And I think the score is a little misleading. I know Jonathan Kuminga, he hit a three to end the game, so they were really down by 8. And they hit a three to push it to 5, but this was an 8-point win before they hit that shot, and that was when the game was over. Golden State, they were shooting pretty. They weren't. This is another thing to notice. They shot their lowest number of threes I've seen in a while. They only took 23 threes, and Minnesota's taking 34. With and Golden State, that was definitely what got them back into the lead in the second half, but they just couldn't keep their foot on the gas. Again, they're in the same position as the not even the Indiana Pacers, but the Boston Celtics New York Knicks series. They're down. They're up 2-1. No, they're down 2-1. They have to take one at home before the series gets out of hand. And if Minnesota can take one, they can definitely put Golden State in that 3-1 jail. And it's looking kind of uncertain because Jimmy Butler with 30 and Kuminga with 30, and they still can't get the job done. And blowing leads in the fourth quarter. So that's definitely tough to see. We'll see how Golden State decides to respond to this. We'll see what coaching adjustments they do and if they can defend home court. And I still have Golden State in 7. I think if they can sneak a game in Golden State and then fend off and just try to get a win in Minnesota, maybe hopefully wait for Steph Curry to return, but I still have Golden State in 7. But that Minnesota's, like I said, they went to the conference finals the year before. They would like to go to the finals, so I'm going to Golden State in the 7. They're up 2-1. Let's see if Golden State can respond, and if they could take a game without Curry. If they could take a game without Curry, then we can have the convo of them moving on. But let's. I think they should take it one game at a time. In Minnesota, they're in the driver's seat. And with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me on the wave. Like I said, please be sure to subscribe, like, drop comments. I definitely want to read everyone's take. I want to hear everybody's opinion about how they're looking at the basketball, and this is a community that we're trying to build. So definitely feel free to drop some comments, likes, and definitely subscribe. I'm your host, Coach Andre, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Ciao.